Hey everyone, welcome to your Venus in Pisces reading for all signs. This is a transit that is happening from today, January 3rd, which I'm recording this on, to February the 3rd. Yes, we'll have Venus exalted in the sign of Pisces for a full month, and we'll even experience a retrogradation back into the sign of Pisces around March, but we're going to talk about that retrograde closer to that time. For now, I just want to focus on the transit from January 3rd to February the 3rd. Okay, so just a little bit of an overview here. I think this is going to be one of the best Venus transits that we've experienced for some time. One, is exalted in the sign of Pisces. Two, it will have no harsh aspect to the planet Mars. So we know those are the cosmic lovers, Venus and Mars. And also it won't have any oppositions to it outside of that January 17th to 18th transit of the moon. But when it comes to like major planetary bodies, there will be no opposition. There is a square to Jupiter around January the 14th, and I would say for that, you know, it's two benefic planets, and Venus is in the sign of Pisces, which is ruled by Jupiter. So I don't feel that's going to be really harsh. We'll also have a conjunction around the 19th of January to Saturn, and Saturn is it's a planet that has demands. Okay, so it's like, okay, I'm giving you this thing, but I don't want to say it restricts you, but it has a lot of requirements from you, right? For what you want or what you're blessed with and what you do with it. Okay, I think February 1st to the 3rd is going to be such a beautiful time, and I'm gonna let you know the signs know where specifically for you in your chart this will be beautiful. But Venus and Neptune conjuncts on the February the 1st, and then on February the 3rd, Venus and the North Node conjuncts at 29 degrees. If you know astrology, 29 degrees is a very critical degree. That's a time where a sign and a planet, when they're at 29 degrees, is at its purest form. So you get Venus then at its purest form, and all the themes that are related to Pisces at its purest form. And as you know, Venus is exalted in the sign of Pisces. If you didn't know, now you know. Okay, for water signs, Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces, this is happening in your Dharma houses. Okay, so that's houses 1, 5, and 9. And this is your connection to spirit, to the divine. This is your good karma. This is your, I want to say self-awareness, but also your connection to like your intuition as well. Okay, we're being very tapped into your gifts and your expression of your gifts, whether it's teaching, learning, expressing, okay, or just embodying that first house energy. So when you want to have that Venus Neptune conjunction and that Venus North Node conjunction, that will be a very great time if you haven't as yet to really like vision board, manifest, do some spiritual work that day. Okay, and this could also be the time where you see good karma come back to you. Give me a second that I want this to go off. Earth signs, Capricorn, Scorpio, Virgo, and Taurus. This is happening in your relational houses, so houses 3, 7, and 11. Okay, so this is your connection to other peoples, your siblings, your neighbors, people in your small knit community or your wider community, like people that you converse with on a day-to-day basis as you commute, or people that you converse with on the internet, right? That wider network, or people in your like say if you go to a conference, people who are your peers, people you have contracts with, business partners, your siblings, I think I said that, cousin, nieces, aunts, nephews, as well as a committed partner. Okay, because seventh house is a committed partner, your best friends, those type of things. So these receive some type of blessings for you at this time. Things should feel a bit more smooth for you all. Some of you could find the right soul tribe with this energy, especially around February 1st to 3rd. Fire signs, Aries, Leo, Sag. This is happening in your moksha houses. The house of release, the house of surrender, the house of or karmic debts, right? Houses 4, 8, and 12. Okay, so I feel this is a good time for you all to do some release work, whether that is you're at home and you're journaling, letting it out. You're going to see a therapist, you're going to see a life coach. You're transmuting energies inherited from your family. You're making changes with your family, that type of thing. Okay, air signs, Gemini, Libra, Aquarius. This is happening in your Arthur houses. This is houses 2, 8, and 10. So this is the house of I have, right? What you have, money that you share with others, the status that you have in the world, right? That is receiving some type of upgrade, some type of blessing. Your money is receiving some type of upgrade or some type of blessing to them, either the money or the assets that you have, or the money or assets that you share with someone else, or what you get, what you gain from the status that you hold in the world. Okay, all right, so that's, wow, went on for 6 minutes. Okay, hey Libras, so you could feel the blessing of Venus in your 6th house of work, health, your daily routines and habits, rental opportunities. What else in the 6th house? Debts that you owe, or I would say, like, even if you want to borrow money, there's a possibility to that someone who's a woman would be open to loaning you money, or this could just be a time where you're paying off debts as well. Some of you may want to do cosmetic surgery. I'm just getting that, okay? Because the South Node eventually will move into your 12th house, house of hospitalizations, and then you'll have Venus there in the 6th house, which has to do with health. So maybe you do something to, okay, I'm hearing something in my head, but I'm not gonna say that because I don't want this to get flagged. Okay, so anywho's, let's start off with the 14th of January. We do have the square happening between your 9th house, your connection to God, the house of foreign travel, foreign people, legalities, courts, and then Venus there in your 6th house. Some of you could receive money from a settlement here, money that was owed to you, or you could maybe pay back somebody money that was owed to them. Okay, some of you may get more opportunity in your day-to-day life to do stuff that allows you to learn, like, let's say you're interested in astrology, because the 9th house also have to do with astrology and divination too. Or 9th house is also the house of self-study, right? And the 6th house is our daily habits, so you may get more time to do something that you like to do. But it may come, sorry, let me track that. You may want to get more time to do things that you like to do, with Venus there in the 6th house, with the square to Jupiter in your 9th house, saying right now is a time for you to study. Right now is a time for you to deal with legal matters. So you got to take that money, you got to pay off that debt. You got to take that money, because Venus does have to do with money, right? You got to go and borrow money to pay off that debt. You know, you got to do something uncomfortable here, because the 9th house does have to do with, like, legalities, especially when it comes to things that are moral and ethical, right? And the 6th house does have to do with, like, past karma, bad karma, karmic debt. So not only like physical money that you owe, but also like spiritual things that you owe, right? a debt that has to be repaid. On the 19th, we have Venus conjunct Saturn at 16 degrees in your 6th house, and Mercury sextile Venus. Mercury is in your 4th house. So 4th house and 6th house. So like I said, some of you could, maybe you owe money to a place that you rented. This could be the time where you pay that back. The sextile is there from the 4th house to the 6th house, so you may get information as it regards to your house. Maybe you might find out about a place to rent. You may rent out your place if you have a home, and that may help you to pay down some debts. The 6th house, right? It's the potential of it. From the 4th house, definitely information will be coming. Maybe a family member could be giving you money here. You receive it through the 6th, okay? But the conjunction to Saturn in the 6th house, where Saturn goes, there's requirements and restrictions here. So I do feel at least around the 19th, there's a repayment of some kind that you may have to do, which is regards to karmic debt or like money that you owe, okay? On the 25th, we have Mars trine Venus. This will be Mars from your 10th house trining Venus in your 6th house. So things are changing for you all when it comes to work, okay? Trines are very beneficial. They are the nature of Jupiter. So I will say for you all, some of you all, that maybe you could be moving for work, moving closer to a place for work. You could, because of the 6th house there with the rentals and stuff, or some of you could be getting a higher position at work, okay? With Mars there in your 10th house, and Mars does have to do with making a decision, cutting things out. Maybe a boss leaves, and even if it's not like completely permanent, even if it's temporary for some time, and you have to maybe step up and take that position, okay? And then that changes everything in your day-to-day life. But we do have Venus that is present there in the 6th house, so whatever is changing in your day-to-day habits, it helps you to increase in your status. Let me let that pass. I see 1, 2, 3 on my timer. So it's like the building of something. Yeah. So whatever this thing is, I feel like it changes your day-to-day routine, but it does so through some form of a blessing that you receive through your 6th house. I also feel with this 6th house activation, because the North Node is moving in there for the next 2 years too, what you're going to do on a day-to-day basis, that is changing, okay? Some of you all, it could be you taking better care of your health, and with that trying to Mars in the 10th house, maybe you could meet someone, especially since it's Venus and Mars around the 25th, maybe you could meet someone at the gym, or someone at a hospital, you know, some type of setting that has to do with health or fitness, okay? Or you get recognized in the health and fitness, or take on a job in the health and fitness realm, just because of that 6th house 10th house connection. It could be some things that you do in the 6th. We do have, like I said, the South Node that has been in your 1st house, so maybe something that you've been cutting away, because the South Node does have to do with taking things away as well. It changes your look, it changes your appearance. And so the 10th house is that public house. It's a house where people see you in, right? And then moving along to the 26th, we have Venus in the 6th house that is sextiling Uranus in the 8th house. So that's why I feel for some of you all, like there could be some type of surgery that comes up for some, not all. If you do, I feel like it's going to be elective. It's not like you have to, it's like you're choosing to do it, but that's not for everybody, right? Some of you all could get a sign-on bonus. The 8th house is the money that you don't directly earn, and this is a sextile, and it is Uranus that is involved, so it could be like really shocking and unexpected. But again, it has to do with work. Some of you could get a mortgage for a house. The 8th house does have to do with mortgages. You could refinance a mortgage. That's a possibility too. Okay. And then from the 1st to the 3rd, we have Venus Neptune conjunction in the 6th house and Venus North Node conjunction in the 6th house. So like I said, I feel like there is some type of saving grace that is happening for you in your 6th house, which is good because the 6th house is a very challenging house. Okay, so everything that is building up in January, there is some type of saving grace that comes through in the beginning of February for you all. And just know that with a North Node there in your 6th house, I feel like you have an opportunity for the next 2 years to pay off some serious karmic debt or just like financial debts on a whole. Okay, Scorpios, this energy is happening in your 5th house. That's a Dharma house for you all. Scorpios, you know, I feel good karma is going to come back to you, especially when the retrograde happened in Venus in March. But let's start off with January the 14th, where there's a square between your 8th house and your 5th house. This could do with, because the 5th house is connected to children, this could have to do with something in regards to child support. This could be like, let's say for example, and I'm not saying Scorpios that you're going to do this, but if you do have children, you want to, with Venus there in your 5th house, you want to enjoy a little luxury, right? With your child, with yourself, you know, if you've been working really hard to be a mom or a dad. I know Saturn there in your 5th house has not made parenting easy for those Scorpios who are parents, but with Jupiter there in your 8th house, it's saying more so the money that you get like invested. Like I wouldn't advise to do, even though it's not like money that you like work to own and it's something that is given to you, there is a connection there to the 5th house. So even if you don't have children, and let's say you have a business, invest it for right now and do what you need to do to invest it, because I feel like down the line there's gonna be opportunity that you could have to, I don't want to say the word flip it, but to make proper use of it. Okay, that's the right word to use. All right. Let's see what else. Jupiter, Gemini, Venus, Pisces, 5th house, 8th house. Yeah, if you have a business, like I said, like invest. If you have children, do some saving. Okay, some of you may have to face some childhood wounds, because the 5th house is also the inner child, or at least the 5th house also has to do with like our skills and our talents or hobbies. So maybe some feelings around self-worth. The 8th house also have to do with like our childhood trauma and our addictions, and you know, some self-limiting beliefs as well. So in order to maybe put yourself out there, express yourself with Venus in the 5th house, you may have to overcome that, right? January 19th, we have Venus conjunct Saturn in your 5th house. So it doesn't feel easy. Where Saturn goes, it restricts, it requires, it demands certain things of us. And a Venus sextile Mercury in your 3rd house. So Mercury feels comfortable in the 3rd house. I just feel in this regard, there's a lot I feel for you all that the theme more so has to do with expression, because the 5th house is how we express ourselves. The 5th house also has to do with the heart chakra, but the 3rd house is that mental process, you know. So some of you could maybe like be talking yourself out of things, and this, I feel, this Venus in Pisces transit, and as well as the North Node in Pisces for the next 2 years, is helping you reinvent yourself from the point of being able to express yourself. I feel like it's also allowing you to heal your heart chakra. Some of you may be experiencing romance around the 19th. You could meet someone here in your neighborhood, at the bar, at the local gym, at the grocery store. You know, those are 3rd house things, and 3rd house does have to do with dating too. The 5th house does have to do with like romance. But because Saturn is present, this person might be very mature. They might, you know, whereas you maybe your unhealed wounds possibly may have made you not be in a space where you can fully commit, where maybe you want to take a step back from, you know, like relationships and stuff, this is like the moment where like as you give up on love, it comes in. I'm saying a whole lot of things just to like, that's what I should have said, like the moment where you want to give up on love, it comes in. Okay, so that's the potential for some of you all. On the 25th, we have Venus trine Mars. This is Venus in your 5th house, trining Mars in your 9th house. You know, I'm only gonna say this because again, like I said, with the child support or alimony thing, and this is a trine, so it's beneficial. If someone from your 9th house was giving you a hard time in regards to like monies and for child support and stuff like that, or if you had some type of business partnership with someone and you're trying to dissolve it, this could be a time where things go in your favor, where you receive some type of increase. Okay, for others of you though, again with the expression, perhaps being able to study or just maybe being able to have some type of mentor or guru, the 9th house, who tells you, hey, I believe in you, you know, it helps to bring you out of that shell. For some of you all, this is also the potential for you to either, like I said, some of you may meet someone in a local area, but maybe that person may be of a different background or culture from somewhere far. Or for some of you all, this is someone new that you meet from somewhere far, or someone of a foreign culture that you start dating. So there's a two aspect there. I just feel like this is a time of dating and meeting people on the whole for you all, having options in love, Scorpio. It could be people locally or people internationally, or people who are just of different belief systems from you. Okay, on the 26th of January, we have Venus in your 5th house that is sextiling Uranus in your 7th house. So again, the opportunity is there for some type of commitment. Okay, and because it's Uranus and it's in the 7th house, like this is gonna feel so unexpected to you all. Like, where did this come from, you know? And even if it's not romantic love, maybe it has to do with a skill or talent or habit that you have that you really didn't believe in yourself, but somebody else saw it in you, and maybe they want to partner with you. The 7th house have to do with partnerships or contracts. The 7th house also have to do with marriage. Okay, so for some of you who have been dating, maybe this is where a person who have been dated, they want to take it to a next step. The 5th house is the house of the children. The 7th house, then in derivative of astrology, would be the 3rd house. So perhaps for a child, things in regards to like shorter courses or short distance travel, something like that comes up with them, for them. Or I'm gonna be honest, because the 3rd house is the house of the younger sibling, and you do have this activation in your 5th house, some of you may conceive a second child. Or your partner may conceive a second child, and this is where the shocking factor is for those of you who are in committed relationships. All right, and then on the 1st or 3rd, we have full activation there in your 5th house with Venus conjunct Neptune, Venus conjunct the North Node. This to me sets the stage of what the North Node in the 5th house is going to be like for you all for the next 2 years. And because of that Neptune energy, before Neptune moves into Aries, I do feel like there is this like answer, this like divine answer, this divine intervention, like a prayer being answered on your behalf. I feel good karma is coming back to you, because the 5th house is a house of good karma, Scorpio. So it will be very beneficial for you all. Sag. Ooh, wrong spot. All right, Sag, this is happening in your 4th house of home, land, real estate, your family, your private life, your emotions. I would say your emotional body too, right? The type of emotions that you experience in private. And so things are changing for you all in your home life over the next 2 years, because the North Node as well is moving in January into the sign of Pisces. So there's new beginnings that's happening in your home life. This sets the stage. You first have a square to Jupiter in your 7th house. So you could be having some type of tension there between you and someone that you have some type of partnership with, contract with, a committed lover, like relationship, a marriage partner. Okay, and decision will have to be made because it's a square, it's the nature of Mars. So there's definitely that decision that is being made there in your private life. It is happening at the 11th degree, which is an Aquarius degree, which does, for me, I follow degree theory, has to do with cutting things out, ending things. So there's that double effect of cutting things out here. Okay, whether it's deciding to move somewhere else, deciding to end the relationship, decided to dissolve a partnership or a contractual agreement, something of that sort. But you're going to have to look at it from through the lens of Jupiter in the 7th house. Okay, that's a greater benefic in this situation. And so for people, even if you're in a romantic relationship and maybe it hasn't been working out, like a committed relationship and it hasn't been working out, Jupiter gives the blessings to end things. Okay, or even a partnership. The next one is the 19th. We have Venus conjunct Saturn in your 4th house and Venus sextile Mercury in your 2nd house. So there could have something, I'm looking at the wide picture of the houses being activated in January, February for you all, and there is something here, and I even said this with the Capricorn new moon because of what was activated then. Some of you all could be renting a home out that you own, selling a home, moving somewhere new. Okay, I mean, this is the 4th house. If your floating IC is in the 4th house, then with the North Node in Pisces, at some point you're going to move, all right? You're going to change things in your home life, that's for sure. Move someone new in, move someone out, bring something new in. If you, example, if you have a child, right? So things are changing in your home life. And because of the sextile to Mercury in 2nd house, the 2nd house has to do with like things that you gain from what you have, things that you invest. So you learn a way how to invest money into beautifying your home or being somewhere that is more comfortable. Your home life is supposed to be more comfortable with Venus there in transit in the 4th house. Okay, so whatever is causing some type of discomfort, this is a time where either we have a temporary solution or we put in a permanent solution in place, one out of the two. We have on the 25th Venus trine Mars. This is between your 4th house and your 8th house. So some of you could be getting a loan. Some of you could be getting a loan, for instance, to buy a home. Okay, my nose started itching. To buy a home, to sell a home, you know, because the 8th house also have to do with like mortgages and money that we get from other people. Some of you with this energy, the 8th house and the 4th house, a family member could pass on that leaves you money, or they don't even have to pass on. They could just maybe choose to give you money, and more than likely it would be a woman, because Venus is in the 4th house. Okay, and it's the cutting away or the taking away or the decision to give with Mars in the 8th house. Some of you could be healing some childhood trauma and ancestral trauma with that 4th house, 8th house activation, right? Moksha houses, so it's a releasing of something. And then on the 26th we have Venus from your 4th house sextiling Uranus in your 6th house. So the 6th house also have to do with things like rentals. It has to do with things like debts that you owe people, even karmic debt. Okay, so you could be paying off a debt, a physical debt, monies that you own. You could be paying off bad karma that was passed down through generations to you. All right, like I said, or you could be renting somewhere new, or making changes in your day-to-day life, or making changes to help you with stress, because the 4th house, like I said, it does have to do with that, the emotions and how you deal with them in private too. On the 1st to 3rd, we have full activation of your 4th house. Venus and Neptune conjunct, Venus and a North Node conjunct. I feel this is the saving grace. You are a mutable sign, so this is happening in an angular house for you. This period in time is very important for you. Expect things to change in your private life. Some of you, if you have your moon, for instance, in the sign of Pisces, then this could be things changing with a mother or women in your life. because that's that double energy with Venus there, right? Them receiving some type of blessing somehow. Moving on to Capricorn. Capricorn, the activation of Venus in Pisces is in your 3rd house. And this has to do with siblings, cousins, aunts, nieces, nephews, people in your local community, short-term type studies, so those things are changed for you. You could be learning new skills, taking shorter certifications. Things could be changing in the lives of siblings for you. Some of you could, because the 3rd house has to do with younger siblings, you know, if you're at the age where your parent could have children, then you might be having a younger sibling. Finding out about some long lost cousins, aunts, nieces, nephews, you know. On the 14th of January, we have that Venus-Jupiter square between your 3rd house and your 6th house. What you do on a day-to-day basis could change. Like your day-to-day routine definitely could change. Some of you all could have greater work projects. If you enroll in some type of course of study, then this could definitely be a time where your day kind of changes, because you're not only having to work, you're having to study too. You may have to take a trip somewhere, so then let's say you're not in your home where you're used to every day, you're somewhere else, then that changes your day-to-day routine, right? On the 19th, we have Venus conjunct Saturn in your 3rd house, and Venus from your 3rd house sextiling Mercury in your 1st house. Again, about learning and putting yourself out there. The way you relate to people in your neighborhood, in your community, when you like commute to work or commute to wherever you go, school, wherever you go, people in your household, cousins, aunts, nieces, and nephews, if you live close by those people, right? Because Mercury is in your 1st house, I feel you may be the one communicating or expressing something to these people. And then with Saturn there in your 3rd house, wherever Saturn goes, it restricts, it demands, it has requirements. Okay, so it could be that these people put greater demands on you. It's like, but they do so maybe in a loving way, right, with Venus conjunct Saturn. Or it's just maybe more is expected of you in terms of how you're supposed to show up with whatever it is that you communicate with Mercury there in your 1st house. On the 25th, we have Venus in your 3rd house that is trining Mars in your 7th house. So there's a lot of activation in terms of your relational houses here. So you'll be dealing with people a lot more in the month of January. And I feel the activation between these 2 planets from the 3rd and the 7th, you could be infusing connection between people that you deal with in your day-to-day life and maybe a committed partner represented by the 7th house, or a business partner, getting them involved in some type of project, because the 3rd house could be a project, right? Signing a contract as it relates to, let's say, for example, your work wants to make you study somewhere, and they make you sign some type of legal document to, not work somewhere, to take some type of study, short study as it relates to your work, and they make you sign some type of contract for that. What else? Mars is where we cut in several things. Mars is retrograde there in your 7th house. For a few of you, not a lot. If your floating IC specifically is in your 3rd house, you may be changing communities. Maybe that may be the results of a separation with someone, because we do have Mars transit in your 7th house. Mars is retrograde in your 7th house as of the 6th of January, right? I'm releasing this on the 3rd, but from the 6th of January onwards, for some time, Mars will be transiting your 7th house. So by that point, when it's the 25th, some of you may decide to end something. Okay, you may have support from women in your family when you do so with Venus there in the 3rd house. So like support from a sister or sisters or aunts, or cousins who are women, okay? And then on the 26th, we have Uranus in your 5th house that is sextiling Venus in your 3rd house. If there is some type of idea, some type of project, some type of skill or hobby that you want to express out there into the world, you have the opportunity to do so, okay? For those of you with children with Uranus in the 5th house, there might be some type of opportunity for them to do a short distance travel, or for them to have some type of education, because 3rd house represents our children, early education, okay? And there's a sextile there. They may express something too, because Uranus is in the 5th house, right? So it's some type of expression. So they could also be the one where something is changing in their life, but it's beautiful because Venus is there from the 3rd house, okay? Maybe some of you win a car. If you want to buy if there's any raffles for cars, and because the 5th house is the house of speculations and gambling. Or if you, I'm not encouraging gambling, but if you want to go to like the local casino in your neighborhood, there's a potential there for winning. February 1st to the 3rd, we have the full activation of your 3rd house. Venus Neptune conjunction, Venus North Node conjunction. And so what I have to say about that is maybe some of you could get a new car around this time, dream car. This is divine intervention, I feel. So maybe if you've been praying for a younger sibling, if you want one, or if there's something happening in a younger sibling's life, or a cousin, an aunt, or a niece or nephew, whatever, you've been praying for them, maybe there's something that turns around with them. A shorter course of study that you wanted to do, if you maybe want to start to write a book, for instance, the potential is there, right? The potential of what will take place for the next 2 years for you with the North Node in your 3rd house. Aquarius. Aquarius, this energy is in your 2nd house. Venus finally comes to soften the blow of Saturn that has been transiting your 2nd house, okay? So from the 14th, we have the square to Jupiter in your 5th house. I would say be careful there, because with the 2nd house, you know, it could be a bit of increase in what you have, and then from that point of the 5th house, which has to do with like romance, luxury, or children, how we have fun, you might be tempted to spend on these things. Or even in regards to children, maybe children may be asking more of you. Maybe some of you may have to decide whether or not you're going to cut off a child or give a child something, right? The square is a decision factor, but the fact of the matter is it's 2 benefic planets. So it's like, okay, it's either short-term benefit or long-term benefits. That's how I see it too, okay? Short-term benefit from the 2nd house, long-term benefit from the 5th house, all right? Would you take the money that you're blessed with in the 2nd house and invest in some type of skill, project, or hobby in your 5th so that you get long-term gains from it? Who knows? Would you take the money that you have from your 2nd house and go gambling with Jupiter in your 5th house? Is that a good idea? Who knows? Because the 5th house does have to do like gaming and speculations, right? 19th of January, we do have Saturn conjunct Venus. That's happening in your 2nd house. So you're going to have to make like a major decision around money here. Wherever Saturn goes, it has great requirements. It restricts things. It makes it more challenging than it needs to be, right? And then we also have that same day Mercury in your 12th house sextiling sextiling Venus and Saturn in your 2nd house. The 12th house also have to do with losses. What do you have to cut your loss on? There may be something that you have to make a decision. You get some type of information here, maybe some downloads through dreams, because Mercury will be transiting your 12th house, which has have to do with the subconscious mind. So maybe make a decision to let something go. And it's not an easy decision to make with Saturn day, but Saturn, I feel, is trying to trim the excess of what isn't necessary. Okay. On the 25th, we have Venus from the 2nd that is trining Mars in the 6th house. I like this energy. Some of you may decide to go on a diet. 2nd house, what we put in our mouth. Some of you may decide to cut back on some spending habits. Some of you may decide to pay off a debt with money that you get. To pay down a debt, because 6th houses have to do with debt. But what is being cut out is something from the 6th house, because Mars is there in the 6th. So you're making the changes from the point of view from the 6th house. Okay, cutting down a debt, cutting down what you eat. For some of you all, it could even be moving somewhere, relocating somewhere, because on the following day we have Venus from the 2nd that is sextile Uranus in the 4th. So maybe a potential comes up to move somewhere, or to maybe rent out someplace. 2nd house, 6th house too. That could be you making some type of decision with some type of asset that you own or that you were blessed with. Okay. On the 1st to the 3rd of February, we have full activation of your 2nd house. Venus Neptune conjunction, Venus North Node conjunction, and I feel like this is a saving grace. This is prayers being answered. So I do feel money or some type of decision that you make in terms of what you eat, what you ingest, some type of skill that you have, something from family, you get a blessing there somehow. Money is changing, money is turning around for you. The way you make money is turning around for you for the next 2 years with the North Node in your 2nd house, and it may all come from you deciding to let something go. Okay, Pisces, this energy is all about you. Pisces, it's all happening in your 1st house, aspects to your 1st house. Okay, so things are changing about you. Venus is exalted in the sign of Pisces, so people are going to be nice to you. This is going to be a favorably, I would say, for the month, next month, easygoing time for you all. Your relations with others, especially women, will be very well. If you're a single male who is interested in women feminine energy, this could be a time where you're more appealing to them. Okay, first aspect is the square between Venus in your 1st house and Jupiter in your 4th house in the sign of Gemini. Something is changing in your home life. Maybe you choose to, no, I don't think you choose to, because you're just expressing yourself. You're embodying Venus energy while Venus transits your 1st house, right? And then from the 4th house perspective, something is expanding, or at least trying to expand. You could have a sibling, or you could, or your partner could be pregnant, or you could be expecting. Venus is the, listen, Venus, especially if you're a woman and you have Moon and Venus, there's a possibility there. I'm just saying, because you also will have a 5th house activation. Your 4th house is the house of the private home. Okay, some of you right now, maybe you're comfortable, you're starting to establish some type of routine. Venus there in the 1st house, some form of expression, but then things are changing in your 4th house, and then the way that you relate or how comfortable you are, that could be the difference. Okay, your family could be expanding in some way that, I don't know, kind of impedes on it being about you. Okay, on the 19th, we have Venus in your 1st house there, conjunct Saturn. So there's a maturation that is being asked of you. That's why this could be a signature for either you're expecting, your partner is expecting, you find out you have a sibling, or you have to take on some type of responsibility at home. And on the same day, Venus sextiles Mercury in your 11th house. So 11th house does have to do with like older siblings. The 11th house also has to do with our gains from our career or long-term goals or visions or dreams. A benefactor. So maybe someone could approach you with some type of information, something that they want you to do, give you a promotion of some kind. But again, maturation is what will be expected of you with Saturn there in the 1st house. So you're being blessed, but to whom much is given, much is expected type energy. On the 25th, we have Venus in your 5th house. that will trine Mars in your, sorry, Venus in your first house that will trine Mars in your fifth house. I hate to say this because Mars is there in your fifth house. And though this is beneficial energy, it's like some type of innocence is taken away. Some form of luxury. Because Mars is present in Mars, cuts things, Mars forces some type of decision, right? And so it's like, okay, I'm being blessed with a child, but certain fun things, they get taken away, you know? So something about me is changing. And as a result, the way I express myself in the fifth house, that also has to change. And that kind of goes back to Saturn during your first house, right? It's restricting you a bit, okay? So you kind of be careful what you wish for energy, because you're going to get it. And then when you get it, you might not. Who knows if you're going to like what has to change along with it, okay? But something here is going to have to change for you all. If you're dating, if you're single, this could be a time to date, because there is a fifth house activation. So if you're a woman, you're interested in men with Mars transiting your fifth house, could be a time to date. I wouldn't say commit though. I wouldn't, okay? Explore your options, but I wouldn't say commit, okay? And because it's happening at that 22-degree marker, just be careful. It's giving fatal attraction vibes. Mars in the fifth house also. And I'm gonna be honest, and I'm not trying to scare anyone, it could be a marker for some type of miscarriage. All right, so you could expect, and then, you know, and then there's that sobering reality of, am I ready? Was I really ready? And or I was ready, but why did certain things happen? You know, I'm just saying. And then we have on the 26th, Venus in your first house that sextiles Uranus in your third house. So some of you could have the opportunity to go on a travel adventure. It won't be anywhere too far. It could be right in your country, like maybe a couple hours away, 2-3 hours away at max. You could have the opportunity to study something, to meet people in your local community, like make friends with someone that maybe you never expect. It's going to be a real unexpected factor from the third house. So unexpected trip, unexpected course of study, meeting people unexpectedly, okay? And then the first to the third, we have Venus Neptune in your first house, Venus North Node in your first house activation. A very favorable time. I'm telling you all, water signs, especially you all, Pisces, vision board if you haven't as yet, and even if you have, do it again. Communicate to spirit in this moment, because with Neptune there and Venus, it's like you have a direct line for manifesting right now. Around the first to the third, you know, and the North Node there, you know, people will be looking to you all. You all are redefining your purpose. You all are making your place, your marker in the world for the next 2 years. Your sense of identity is changing, and Venus is there blessing it as well. So really, really nice time for you all. I hope that this helps. Until next time, be blessed.